Okay, Derbyites, we're here to talk about episode 8 of the season of Game of Thrones, season 6, called No One. And Amanda, just what is your first take of this particular episode?
It just seemed like a filler episode. Usually the last three are really powerful, and this one was kind of out of character for them, so they must have something really special planned for the last two. It seemed like they were just wrapping up some storylines that didn't really seem to matter.
Now, I thought, there's probably quite a bit of filler in this episode, but what an episode for Maisie Williams. Like, really, like a huge episode for her character, a huge episode for Arya. I think that she should be a real Emmy contender now. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. This would probably be her episode, and damn, she had a lot of screen time. If it would be very uncharacteristic of the Emmys for someone her age to get in. But what an episode. So smart, the entire thing, leading that girl waif through the streets to that cave.
Yeah, she was so great. We're going to talk about Maisie Williams. We're going to talk about Arya's big moves, Maisie Williams' big performance in the episode. But first, we do have some somewhat breaking news, Game of Thrones related, for the Emmys this year and this season. And that is that today, Emmy voting opened. Today, the Emmy ballots were released. So I've been talking a lot in previous recaps about who's going to be for guest actor, who's going to be for guest actress and stuff like that. And we now have the list of which actors have been submitted for the show. Amanda, have you had a gander at this list yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So I will run through it right now. In the supporting actor race, you have Peter Dinklage as Tyrion Lannister submitted, who won last year, so no surprise there. You got Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who plays Jaime Lannister, submitted, so he has gone through. You got Kit Harington, who plays Jon Snow, has been submitted, so he's eligible in the supporting actor race. Then so they're the only supporting actors that have been put forward for the show. It's only Nikolai, Peter, and Kit. Then
That's smart.
Yeah. Then in the actress side of things, you've got Emilia Clarke, who plays Daenerys Targaryen. You've got Lena Headey, who plays Cersei Lannister, who are both of them nominated last year, so no surprises there. You got Sophie Turner, who plays Sansa Stark. You've got Carice Van Houten, who plays Melisandre. You've got Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark. And that's it. So no Natalie Dormer. Natalie Dormer usually submits herself in that category. She hasn't this year. And then in the guest acting races, you got Max von Sydow as the Three-Eyed Raven, who is put in the episode The Door. And that is it.
What?
No other guest performances, as far as I'm aware. Yeah.
That doesn't seem. We'll have to keep an eye on that, because I'm surprised they wouldn't submit Ian McShane.
Yeah, so it looks like Ian McShane has submitted himself for Ray Donovan, but not for Game of Thrones.
That might be. I don't know.
So we'll check, and obviously, God do we report these things, and there have been one or two occasions where us reporting who's not on the ballot has led to a catch of a mistake that's been made. But as far as it looks like, I'm looking at the ballot right now, they are the people who have been submitted this year. So
Yeah,
Amanda,
I don't know if Ian McShane made the right choice. I understand one or the other, and he did have a larger arc on Ray Donovan, but I don't know if Ray Donovan has the heat to get him nominated, where I think he probably could for Game of Thrones. And where's Diana Rigg?
Yeah, it's a really good point. Diana Rigg, huge. I didn't even think, like, it's so hard when it's so hard when you get all these names and all this information. There's obviously other shows we're like sifting through and stuff like that too. Like completely forgot Diana Rigg. So I don't know why Diana Rigg's not on there. We'll definitely be reporting on that. I don't know why. I don't know why Natalie Dormer. I think it's a real shame she hasn't submitted herself this year. We were talking last week about how great a season she's had. So anyway, next week's recap. Hopefully the dust will have settled on this ballot, and we'll have a few answers to some of these questions.
Yeah, and no disrespect to Nikolai Coster-Waldau, but I almost think maybe they should have swapped him with Jonathan Pryce this year because his character's been so front and center.
Well, like that's a good point, sort of, Amanda, because like and Nick, this is probably, I would say, and we'll talk about this in maybe a bit after we've talked to Maisie Williams. This has probably been Nikolai Coster-Waldau's best episode of the season this week.
Yeah, it was his best episode of the season. I think that it was a shame. I think it was season 3 he couldn't get nominated when he had that long monologue where he was talking to Gwendolyn Christie about why he killed the king, the Mad Targaryen. But they've gone with their tried and true actors.
Definitely. So let's now break down. Let's talk about Maisie Williams' big episode. As far as I'm concerned, this is the Emmy tape for her. She had the best Emmy tape out of anyone this episode. Do you agree with me?
Absolutely. I think that if we were just having a runoff of the ladies of Game of Thrones, I might give her a slight edge over Emilia Clarke's tape because she was just so good. And that final scene with that blood, thank God we didn't have to watch her cut off the face.
Yeah.
But that was amazing. It was so powerful. And she definitely, in my mind, would bump Lena Headey if I were in my dream selections.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree with you. That was an incredible performance. I like this. I think is in my mind. I'm not saying whether before we get to chance of being nominated. I think this is a very strong episode of Maisie Williams. I think she should be considered for Best Supporting Actress now. It's such an incredible performance for her. Like, it's such long scenes and such a great ending scene. There's action, there's emotion, there's it's like we were talking about last week, how this whole thing in the Game of Thrones sort of thing where you get more than one scene. You appear earlier in the episode, then you come back later. It was just fantastic. So, such a shame, though, Amanda, we didn't get to see the fight. We didn't get to see the sword fight because it was too dark. How do you find that?
Yeah, I agree, but we've seen those two fight enough this season. But the minute she sliced that candle, you just knew that girl's time had come to an end. And when I think back to what's won for Peter Dinklage in the past, where he's had 1 or 2 very small scenes, she's got 3 or 4 scenes. She is this episode from start to finish. It's incredible. And we get so many different looks at her that I really wish they didn't have a bias towards younger actresses because she is very young.
Yeah. She is young, but boy, what a performance. And I think like with the action and, as you said, the drawn out long scenes and stuff. And like, I think her and Emilia Clarke are the 2 actors so far this season that have been given really killer Emmy tapes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They are the 2 who should be submitted and nominated.
Yeah. And I've been a big advocate of Sophie Turner this year. I think I even said to Rob that I believe she's had the most consistent season at the halfway point, even though I think Emilia had the best episode, that Sophie Turner's been the most consistent. But I think Maisie Williams, has now overtaken Sophie Turner in terms of material now. Like, I think Sophie Turner's still looking for that amazing episode.
Yeah, she's had the most consistent season amongst all of them as far as stuff to do.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have one knockout episode. Now, next week, we might get that episode.
What an incredible show for female actors. Like the fact that like these are the one like the Sophie Turners, the Maisie Williams, the Amelia Clarks, even the Lena Headey's to a lesser extent maybe this season are the ones that are popping, the ones you just want to. And last week talking so much about Diana Rigg and about Natalie Dormer, just so many. It seems like the women are the actors we're wanting to talk about each week, and that we're sort of really sizing up their Emmy chances.
Yeah, if it wasn't. It's just so hard this year with it being Downton Abbey's final season, and with it being The Good Wife's final season, where if we had at least one more open slot, I might entertain, since they are the reigning champs, putting 3 of them in there. But that's a big jump going from 2 to 3 in one category.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, and when you think how young Sophie Turner and Maisie Williams were when they started playing these characters, to the fact that now, out of all the women of this show, they're 2 of the 4 that are being submitted. It's really impressive.
Yeah, let's talk quickly about Arya's big move. I believe that Arya had the best move in the Game of Thrones this week. Do you agree, Amanda, or do you think someone else had the biggest or best move?
I would say she had the best move. She was so smart. So smart. I think a distant second might be Jaime Lannister.
Yeah.
With talking.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. Now, I think that, like, firstly, a big move by Arya Stark, a very impressive move. Like, she needed to, like, getting to the spot she needed to get with Needle was quite a run through the city of Braavos. And a lot could have gone wrong on her way to there, especially with the wounds she had, she was recovering from. A very quick recovery for Arya Stark and a very impressive run through the town. Also, I would note, we've noted in the past how amazingly uninterested the locals of Braavos are in anything that's going on with any of these characters. Arya getting stabbed and walking through engine, no one seems to care. This continued even to the extent of where she's knocking over fruit stands and I'd imagine quite a significant amount of produce and hurting people's business, and people don't even seem to care. Like, no one seems to be paying any attention to her at all. Like, oh no, the oranges, but they're not like, oh, you girl, why have you ruined our oranges? Like,
yeah, no one's stopping her and this other girl or trying to stop them. I don't know if this is like a daily occurrence in this.
Like just another day in Braavos.
Yeah, apparently they're very destructive in Braavos, and no one seems to care.
Yeah, and what a great twist with the facing Arya with the sword going, oh, it won't help you now, and then using Needle to turn off the candle, calling back to all the training that Arya had done with that girl blind, and sort of really turning the tables on her. I know that was a great way of bringing relevance to that blind storyline of Arya's, and was such a fun way to bring that training that she'd had into something practical, but also something that ended up turning it against the person who trained her.
Yeah, she was very smart and planned this out well, and luckily everything worked for her. And that man at the end, when he saw that face.
Yeah. So it was very, very good. Like, it was very good. What is it? What's the name of the faceless guy?
I don't remember his name.
Jaqen
Hagar.
Hagar, yeah, Mr. Hagar. Mr. Hagar really took it quite well, and didn't really seem to, like, at the end of the day, he was sort of like, oh, well, you survived, you can start doing her job. And she's like, nah, I'm over this sort of faceless thing. I'm Arya Stark, and I'm going home. So we're loving that.
Yes, thank God, because she's one of the last characters just out there by herself.
Yeah, and it's boring, the faceless guy. We want to see Arya, so she's back with Neil. She's leaving. He seemed not to be fighting it. He's like, okay, that's what she wants to do. She wants to do. He seemed a bit over it too himself, the faceless got Mr. Hagar. Like, seemed a bit over it with that girl. Like she's like, oh, I now get to kill Arya. He's like, yeah, just don't hurt her, whatever. Just go do that. Like it seemed a bit more laissez-faire the last couple of episodes, a bit less intense.
Well, if you remember in season 2, she did save his life, so there's probably still maybe a little feeling of if you're gonna kill her, just don't make her suffer.
Yeah. Very much.
That's probably more that than
yeah,
anything else.
Let's quickly now just race through the other areas of the show. As you said, it was pretty much filler. We've spoken a bit. Jaime Lannister, this is so far Nikolai Coster-Waldau's tape, if he were to get nominated in the show. Some great negotiation skills from him.
Yeah. Tobias Menzies, who's playing the Tully. Usually I love to hate him. This character I just hate. Again, it was a little disappointing that we didn't get to see the Blackfish die.
Yeah.
Just those kind of things. I don't really like it when characters die off screen.
I think especially this show, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of felt like, okay, they had their one scene with Brienne. But it was probably his best episode.
Yeah. I really liked seeing the scene with Brienne. Like that was really cool. I think the connection of those characters, like how he let her keep the sword, and there's still that mutual respect and affection there for each other. And I really like that for Nikolai and for that character. And then him being able to get the surrender, so no blood had to be spilt, but still to take back that castle on behalf of the Lannisters, I think was a really good move. Let's talk about King's Landing. Oh my gosh, Amanda, I am fuming at King Tommen for taking away our trial by combat this season. I was so excited to see what would happen with the mountain and stuff there. And Tommen's ruined it for us. Yeah,
people keep getting to Tommen. That's unfortunately his problem. And Cersei has not done anything all season, so I am hoping there is something planned for her in the last couple of episodes.
Yeah,
it's been kind of dull, and this is not usually the Cersei we've seen.
Did Cersei make the worst move this episode in terms of playing that, saying I choose violence and getting him to kill one of those priest guys, in terms of sort of like they sort of tipping a hand a bit to the high septon and stuff, going, okay, I could do it.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay, combats, because huge zombie following her around. It's been kind of, he's been one step ahead of her the whole time. So Matt?
Sorry, you were breaking up a bit there, Amanda. Do you want to try just comment on Cersei and the mountain very quickly?
Yeah, I think again the violent answer, just because it kind of alerted to them of what was going to happen if they did a trial by combat.
Yeah, so I think she overplayed a hand there. She could have just gone seeing the High Septon beforehand. She wanted the trial by combat. I think she's been a bit too showy with the mountain. Quickly touching on other sort of areas of the episode, it was pretty much the only other thing was in Meereen, and we had with Meereen, what's his face, Tyrion, sort of like really lost control of everything. It was really a disaster, and Daenerys has come, and I don't think she is going to be happy with the state of Meereen or what Tyrion's been doing in her absence. I think he's in a lot of trouble.
I don't know if he's in a lot of trouble because, they were already destroying the city from the beginning when she left. But luckily, they don't know yet the Greyjoys are on their way, so that might help with the army, with the Navy. But yeah, they need to get this taken care of quickly because he's been trying his best. He tried the diplomatic approach, so now they're probably going to have to go back to the military approach. But again, it was kind of nice to see him trying to get these very stoic characters to loosen up. That's always nice comic relief in the middle of it.
Yeah. Who do you think had the worst move this episode, Amanda?
Cersei.
I would actually say, I know I said Cersei a minute ago, but I would actually say, to me, it seems like the worst episode was Blackfish.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Lord Tully. He's not Lord of River Run, so there wasn't very much he could do to stop these people, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Waif also had an awful episode.
Yeah, as far as minor characters go, those two probably did have the worst moves. But as far as like big characters, Cersei's probably in more trouble than she realizes.
Yeah. So I think we're in a lot of agreement this week, Amanda. I think we're in a lot of agreement. It's annoying. It's very annoying. I don't know what we're going to ask on Twitter. I might maybe get people to compare maybe Maisie Williams' performance here with some of the other performances from earlier in the season and see who people like the most. Anyway, it's been great chatting Game of Thrones this week. We had a bit of a shorter chat this week. As you said, a bit of a filler episode, so a bit less to touch on. And we'll join the discussion at Gold Derby forums and to chat about it, make your predictions in Gold Derby as well. And anyway, thanks for chatting Game of Thrones with me, Amanda.
No problem.
Okay.